the
Oh,
floor.
Yes,
That's all I
please.
need.
I forgot to share, to forward. Oh my God. To God.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Am I praying? Can I pray?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
MC, I'm going to talk a lot. Let the moderator pray, please.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
that's okay. Let's humble ourselves for a word of prayer. Mighty Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for today. We thank you for the evening. We thank you for yet another session of Against All Odds. And as we gather, we pray that you guide our guest speaker and our hosts into sharing the best words of wisdom with everyone that is waiting to partake of that. And Father, let it be actionable in their lives for the better. I pray all of that, believing in the mighty, mighty name of Jesus Christ, our personal Lord and Savior. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Derek,
Yes, Coach.
I request that I come in later.
Okay.
I am not ready.
Okay.
Yes.
That is
Can you engage the audience and just do your thing and
that's okay, Coach. Maybe I would just love to know how much time you anticipate to have, because again, depending on how long you would be away, we could even switch into the conversation and then you find us and
yes, exactly. That is
okay.
what I want to happen.
Okay,
But
that's
for
fine.
now, for I wanted to play a song, the other song
That's
for that
okay.
young man.
That's okay, Coach.
Then you take it over. You can engage the audience in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All the best. Samuel, you are welcome. I hope the YouTube is set now. Okay, where is it? Okay. I am admitting people and take over, Derek.
Okay. Beautiful.
I'm right here.
Yes, I see you. I see you. Now, I was I've just gotten to open your profile, and the most
Hello,
yes, Coach.
Derek.
Yes, Coach.
I have admitted people.
Okay.
If you realized,
Oh yes, the
we
participant
are
number is
now
from
15 on the on the call. Yes,
yes,
so
yes.
you can start.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you so very much, Coach. And a very, very good evening to all the participants that have joined in on this call. My name is Derek Katwe, and I'm excited to be with us all here as of the evening. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are having the 56th. The number is 56. So today we are having the 56th edition of Against All Odds Talks, and I'm excited. Now, for those of you that could have seen the flyer ahead of time, there was a lovely lady that was supposed to be moderating the session, but due to some unavoidable circumstances. She was not able to make it, but I'm excited to be the dangerous substitute coming in to do the job on her behalf. And I want once again to welcome you all. Today's topic, as we know it, is what resilience is and what it is not. The date is the 23rd of February, and this is our last Monday of the month, which is usually when we have our Against All Odds talks happening every last Monday of every month. My name is Derek Katwe. For those of you that are seeing the face or hearing the voice very first time. And now, before we get into the gist of the conversation today, I just want to request our participants that are already on the call to just go to the chat section and kindly share with us all where you're joining this conversation from. I'll go first and take my message to the chat section, even when I have the privilege of the microphone at the moment. I would love that we straight up take the conversation there to just share where we are joining from. So you put the name and then where you are joining from. Yes.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious to that grace
Beautiful song right there. Thank you so much, our producer. I'm sure that is the word. Our producer for that beautiful melody. And I see our number of participants is going up quite steadily. For all of you that are already here, please spread the link, share with as many people. And then I'll just quickly go through the people that have shared with us where they are joining from. This evening, we have Jen Bironji joining in from Kampala. We have Edward Okot Omoya joining in from Nalumunye. He says, thank you so much, the organizer. How can we join your platform so that we don't miss future series? Thank you so much. Edward, to respond to you, our producer is going to share the link in the chat section, the WhatsApp group link, which you can join and then know when all of these sessions are happening and how you can easily join them. We do have Betty joining in from Kampala. We do have Fatuma joining in from Bunga, Kampala. We have Vincent joining in from Makindye, Adrian from North Carolina. We have Patricia joining in from Boyogerere, Lydia from Jinja, Rebecca from Mulungu, Jacqueline. Just loved the music. Thank you so much, everyone that is joining in. For the others that have not yet shared with us where you're joining from, please drop it in the comment section. I would love, though, to know, Adrian, what time is it in North Carolina? I know for sure for the rest of the participants that are from within the country, surely the time is 8 p.m. I don't know what time it is. We have John Barasa joining in from Entebbe. Yes, Adrian, kindly share with us what time it is in North Carolina. I would really, love to know. Ladies and gentlemen, as Adrian says, it is midday. Wow, wow. And that means that we are so many hours ahead. About what? About what? 4 hours, I think. Could be wrong, maybe more. But thank you so much, Adrian, for being with us for this conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, our topic is to discuss what resilience is and what is not. And this is our 56th edition of Against All Odds. My name is Derek Katwe, and I'm a dangerous substitute moderator that is here for this discussion. And do not forget that this discussion is brought to us by the Betty Ojel Foundation. We shall hear a bit more about it, but I'm happy to share some details of what the foundation is about. The Betty Ojel Foundation, ladies and gentlemen, is about very clear things. It is built on clear principles. The mission is to inspire hope. The vision is transformed lives, and some of its values include accountability, humanity, compassion, and optimizing potential. It has got a couple of program areas that the foundation focuses on that guide the work that it does in the community. One of them being education. I know that Coach Betty, who is the founder of the Betty Ojel Foundation, can share more to this. But as far as I know, they are children that have been educated through the education program of the Betty Ojel Foundation, through different people that come out to support the works of the foundation. Mentorship is one of them. Again, those that will need mentorship through different areas of career development and all of that. Coach Betty, the word coach is not by mistake. She's one of the best that we do have in the land in as far as nurturing potential is concerned. So again, through this conversation, we shall be getting to understand a bit more about that. Then the Blessed Hands Outreach. The Blessed Hands Outreach happens every year. Again, I'm sure Coach Betty shall communicate to us what date it's going to be this year and which place we are going to be going this year. So in this outreach, again, a lot of support comes through, very many well wishers, and people that love the work that is done under the Betty Ojel Foundation to reach out to the needy and show them love and show them support in different areas and donations. And of course, coming to the last program area, which is Against All Odds Talks, like the one that we are attending today. The intent is very clear with Against All Odds Talks. Value. And those of you that are not here for the first time will bear me witness that the value that Against All Odds Talks bring is unbelievable, and the fact that they happen on a monthly means that by the time the year is done, you would have listened to a lot of dynamic, knowledgeable speakers, and with out of that you would have picked so many important lessons for yourself. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is just a tiny bit of a brief about what the Betty Ojel Foundation is about, who are our sole sponsors for the Against All Odds Talks. Yes. Now, we already had an opening prayer, and I just want to mention that because it's crucial that that people get to know that we are going in for a session that has already been blessed. And now, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, to introduce our our guest speaker. Yes, I am very excited that I am moderator for a session where a person of such influence, knowledge, affluence, impact, and all of these great things is with it. It's a big honor for me, and I'm certain that as we shall learn as the session goes, it will be worth it for all of us. The profile is quite big, ladies and gentlemen, but as moderator, I promised myself that I'll pick out terms I can pronounce so that we can relate as well. So this very evening, we are joined, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that joined a bit earlier, you might have already seen her face, but of course, considering that she's going to be speaking with us, we are going to see it. But we are joined by our guest, and that is none other than Ambassador Goldie Obama. The nickname is Lady G, and she is a lot of things. And brace yourselves while I just go through some of them. Number one, Mrs. Goldie Obama is an ambassador for mental health at the workplace in Uganda and the region of East Africa at large. She is the founder and group CEO of Goldie's Group Holdings. She is the founder of the Mental Health Community of Practice. She is a purposeful resilience transformational leader, mentor, and coach. For those of you that are looking for mentors, our guest speaker today is very big on mentorship, and the results of those that she has mentored speak for themselves. She has over 20 years plus of experience in leadership, organizational culture, and human capital development. So now you are somewhere in your career and things do not seem to be moving in the direction you would want them to. We are with the perfect person. She has a background in behavior and organizational psychology. She's an advocate for mental health sustainability at the workplace and safe spaces. It must have been, I don't know, there's an article I saw. I'm not very certain if it was today's article or rather an older one. But I remember my eyes meeting with an article that was speaking about the impact of mental health in the workplace and how it affects productivity and other key things. So right here we have a big advocate on mental health sustainability at the workplace and safe spaces. She's also the founder and chief architect of Wow Women, Wow being an abbreviation for Women of Worth, which is a worldwide community. Yes, she is the creator of Abra Self-Care Starter Kit, which exercises the Abdacadabra technique for mindset change and resilience. She is board level leadership and advisory roles across regional and international organizations in her experience. She's also a champion for women's empowerment, gender equity, and leadership development. Ladies and gentlemen, Ambassador Goldie Oboma is passionate about holistic community development and dignity-driven support. These that I just read out for you are just a few things that define our guest speaker today, Ambassador Goldie. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome our guest speaker. Ambassador, welcome. You can now turn on your video. Yes, there you are. And mute and say hello to our participants that have been waiting a long while to hear you speak with them.
All right. Hello, everybody. Pleasure meeting you all. Those who are watching in, those who are listening in audibly. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, MC. Thank you, Dennis, and thank you, Beatty. Allow me just say this really on behalf of the host here and all of us who have keyed in here. It's a privilege and honor and humbling experience for me to be speaking this evening on a topic that is very dear to my heart. Very dear to my heart, very close, but like I said, all things life to me. And I'm going to speak from a point of, yes, through my eyes, not theoretically. I'd want us to be as practical as possible. So to add some depth to this and really to demystify this, what it is and what it is not, is something that it's an interesting conversation that we're going to go into. But thank you, MC. So for me, really, my expectation here from both myself and us is really, I'm here to give insights, to help us learn some new insights in our lived experiences, but also unlearn some myths, methodological mindsets that have been built over years, and relearn where possible. Let's repurpose our resilience. So then apply the knowledge. So in a nutshell, that is really how I would say thank you to everybody who was keyed in, and let others join in. We look forward to having a productive time together. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador. At this juncture, without further ado, allow me to, bring in my very first question to set the tone for this conversation. The topic is very clear: what resilience is and what it is not. Could you, Ambassador, help us in your work with leaders and mental health at the workplace? How do you define true resilience and what it is not? To just set the tone for our conversation this evening. Over to you, Ambassador.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very interesting and intriguing question there. Allow me start by saying this, even before I give you a definition or what it is or what it is not. Allow me start by stripping away the hustle culture definition. Allow me start by that. I would want to categorically and unapologetically at this moment strip off or strip away that hustle culture definition for very many reasons, which I'll explain later on. But many people have had an opportunity of what resilience is. Everyone has different thoughts, different attributes, theologies, terminologies, analogies, but mainly, really, what we're here to discover, what it is and what it is not, for me, from my own perspective, let me now give you my own first, is that resilience is actually not the absence of you breaking. I would say it is the holy chemistry of turning the shreds of your mosaic into something that catches light. What am I saying? Resilience is your capacity to integrate trauma, challenge, or any new ways into a stronger identity. It's more of transformational, not necessarily recovery. I would want to distinguish that, not necessarily this recovery, because the thought is that someone, when you talk about resilience, the first thing someone says is that, it's about bouncing back from, the adversity or something. But I want to Go a little bit. That's why I said you need to add depth into this. Resilience is you proactively having the capacity, the ability to integrate your traumas or your challenges into something new, into a stronger identity that is purposeful, that is transformational, meaning you go from point A to point Z, you see the growth, even in that valley or on that mountain. Now, in my own words, like many of you have heard me speak a lot of times, resilience, people say that it's me being solo, it's about my isolation, I go there, I come out, I come into something new. You remember the story of the caterpillar? Or the butterfly? Let's use the butterfly. Before the butterfly, the full story of the butterfly comes to life. What happens to the butterfly? The different stages it has to go through. I'm not a scientist to right now define all of that for you, but we expect you to go away, then come out new. It's not about going out, it's walking through the fire with the pain, with the laughter, and choosing yourself, choosing emotions that are positive, choosing community support, choosing to ask for support, choosing to be born into something new. It's really building muscle, if I could really say. It's building a muscle. So resilience at this point for me is, like I said, is not, that's why I said I would want to scrap off the hustle culture definition right away, because the hustle culture definition of resilience is like, you have to be tough. You have to suppress the emotions. You have to keep going. And yes, you have to be going, it's true. But beyond that, resilience is turning that anxiety or that issue or that trauma to exactly become the best version of yourself and who you want to be out of that fire. So it's not a solo act. It's deeply rooted in community support. It's deeply rooted in your support with your organizations, your leaders. I find it very disturbing when people keep talking about resilience in terms of, oh, no, now you need, okay, it's fine. You need leave off. Fine, I'll take leave off. But I come back with the same, you talked about mental health. I come back with the same mental health issue to be reintegrated into the workplace. So is that resilience? I want to introduce you to a concept called purposeful resilience. And purposeful resilience here, I would speak from a point of that I've just explained here, is that when you go through, for example, on that mental health break or leave or at home or something like that, there are things you purposely choose to do. There are things you're very intentional about. Mindfulness, journaling, doing your exercise, eating right, having positive affirmations and thoughts. For example, I'm talking about when someone is going through anxiety or a mental breakdown or even burnout. Let me talk about mental health first. What are the resilience anchors that you could anchor yourself with? What are those things that could grow a forest to help you regrow that fire in you, to help that you germinate into a new person of who you want to be? That is purposeful resilience, building muscle through the fire, beyond the fire, to grow out of it into the best version of yourself. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's not about denial. You actually go through, he mentioned earlier about the model that I developed for self-care. Abra squared is, let me just talk about Abra alone. Abra is, you accept, you recognize, you accept what is happening, the limitations, the behaviors, everything, your mood, your feeling, your emotions, you understand it from a point, you accept that. Then what do? B, you breathe in the possibilities, the potential, and the promise that for sure the oxygen that is going on within your lungs is an opportunity for you to live life again. So it's not over. So there's no giving up. Then R is for alignment, the recognition we talk about. How then do you recognize that I was at point A and I need to go to point D? What are you going to do differently during that time for you to realign your thoughts in a very positively and purposefully resilient way? So it comes from growth. Purposeful resilience comes from a growth perspective amidst adversity. Yes. Resilience, if I could define it in one sentence or one word, is you rewriting your life story in a very purposeful, positive way. That is it. That is it. Because I don't want to talk about all these other jargons in psychology, right? No. I want us to be as real. And I'm going to give you examples, even from my own life. And Betty will come in and speak on this as well, in her own life, because we have walked the talk. When we talk about resilience, we don't talk about it from a textbook context. It's good to have theory, yes, but we talk about it because we have walked the talk. We have seen what it means to be resilient and what it doesn't mean to be resilient. So as we define the soul of resilience, I want us to understand that resilience is not about bouncing back, like I said. It's about bouncing forward with purpose. That is one. Resilience is not also about you being tough or ignoring your pain or even ignoring yourself, where you're emptying yourself to everybody and forgetting your cup is not like my glass here. Your cup is not filled or even empty. It isn't about you sucking up and suppressing the emotions. No, it's about you processing, naming the emotions. Remember what I said? Why this emotion? How this emotion? What is this emotion? You have to name it to get you to healing and moving forward. But also resilience is not just about survival. For a long time, and this is why I talked about this particular definition, resilience is not as survival. Resilience is not just about survival. It's about thriving with purpose in that survival mode to lead with worth. I'll say that again. Resilience is not just about survival. It's about thriving with purpose through your survival to lead with worth. Resilience to many is also a destination, ladies and gentlemen. But that shouldn't be the case. Resilience is not a destination. It is a journey of growth through the different challenges and adversaries that we got. And that is why I like the term that we coined through Wow Women about purposeful resilience, because then purposeful resilience helps you not just be resilient at that, the hustle definition we talked about. It helps you align your challenges with your greater why, really fueling your growth and that of others. That is purposeful resilience. Like I said, it's not a solo act. So you cannot be alone. You need support. You cannot just go through it alone. I know many of us go through it alone. We think that resilience is a solo act. It's about isolation. It's about me. I need to come out of it. And they look at me like the butterfly, that transforms, a new me. No. You may not even transform to a new you, but the intentionality, the mindset, the attitude, the views, the way you think, your knowledge, your thinking pattern, there's a change in who you are. It's community driven. You need to see healing from a point of view where you are creating legacy for others. That is when resilience becomes purposeful. I know many have argued that, no, it's just some instances. Yes, it's just motivational talk and here, there, my dear. Resilience is more than motivational talk. You have to do the work when it comes to resilience. You have to walk the talk. Painfully, yes, but you still walk the talk. Part of resilience, you do not have to. You talked about mental health and leaders in the workplace. Today I read an article on LinkedIn and they were talking about toxic leaders or something. Yeah, toxic leaders. Let me remember. Toxic leaders and how good employees live or something like that. I cannot remember. But I was talking about, I picked the aspect of toxic leaders. And then I linked it to mental health. And then I linked it to the resilience of this employee who would serve the place or would choose to leave. At times, resilience would request you, it's not giving up, setting your boundaries and knowing when to leave. Oh, yes, that is purposeful resilience. I'm not saying leave your jobs right now, go and resign on what, but it's done with purpose. When your why is clear in terms of resilience, the how becomes as easy as possible. So for me, you asked, yes, what is that one definition, which I have given in here? But beyond that is really be or have the choice in your career or as a leader or as a CEO here to be unapologetically resilient. And how will you be unapologetically resilient? By being your authentic self, by choosing against all odds to stand, to speak your truth, to show up 150%. They say life is 90% showing up. Yes, to show up, even in the pain. Let me give you an example. Just imagine, I want to talk about passive resilience right now. Let me give an example of a tree. Before I break our example, a tree. A tree, you know how a tree usually bends, eh? Trees, or let me say a stick, you know how it bends, eh? A tree or a stem that does not bend breaks, isn't it? Passive resilience. Yet, a forest that regrows, I want you to come with me here, a forest that regrows after a fire, with the seeds that only germinate through that heat, is what we talk about now, actual resilience, purposeful resilience. Take the fires that happened recently in California, where our colleague is listening in from. I don't know how those trees look right now, but my assumption is any tree that is going to grow out of that burning fire, ladies and gentlemen, that is very purposeful. Despite the fire, I will grow. Despite the pain, I will move. So resilience is really the art of you writing your story in a very purposeful way. So I welcome you on this journey. We have behavioral modification and a lot that has been taught to us over the years that no, you have to be tough. But for me, that is it. There are several examples we could give you, our own examples. Let me give you my own example at this point. There's a time in my career, for some reason, I was all over the place, like you heard from some introductions, working, doing international jobs and what, and I got very ill. Because I was workaholic, I got very ill. And then they told me, oh, you had a stroke. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the time I was in hospital that I came back to some consciousness and I had the doctors say, her brain is going into, when she goes into that coma, she will not wake up and what? Thank God I got some common sense to learn to hear that. I started speaking, even when my words could not make sense. I started speaking, I've spoken to date. Why am I telling you that? I know everybody has a different story. I'm not going to say stroke is something everybody can come from and look like the way I look. No, I have had over the last 10 years to go through different challenges of TIs, struggles that I'm well, the next minute I'm not. But I don't give up. I will not sit there. I am Lady Goldie. Gold goes through fire, and that is my story of resilience. I will not allow that disease or whatever it is to take me down. No, I will speak as long as I have my tongue to speak. And several of you have stories like that. You come out stronger. I believe the version of me after that stroke is not the version of Goldie that you knew before. Because now I will speak unapologetically. I will set my boundaries. My no is a big no. My yes is a yes, and I mean it. So really, at the end of the day, what matters is really you. You need to define what resilience means to you. Scrap off every surface level introductions. What does resilience really mean to you, if I could ask you that question? That is something you need to answer in life. It's not you smiling and having all these Snapchats, especially for some of the youth or employers here, how people look very nice on their, how do you call it, moderator? Social medias. Then when the social media is down, in the back of the room, they're literally dying. You can't live a double standard life. You have to live an authentic life of intentionality, of choosing your worth, of knowing when to stand, of understanding that it's a growth journey, and really being able to thrive with purpose and lead with purpose. And this goes for all the leaders who are skilled in here. It starts with each of us. Let's make people feel not just important, but let's hear their voices. Let them matter in our workplaces, because we are affecting their mental health. Leaders, yes, us, we are affecting their mental health. And this is causing them to question their worth, question their resilience. Someone's like, huh? No, don't give vague feedback. Give them the actual feedback so that they can grow, so they can understand how they can be a better version of themselves when they leave your organization or your leadership. Don't just put them down. Give them a reason and a purpose to find their voice and their resilience and not question their worth. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is such a powerful introduction to what we are here to discuss today. I am making my notes here, and I'm already thinking, what else is there to say about resilience? And yet I know you still have quite so much for us. It's it's not about suppressing emotions. It's not about isolation. It's community driven. You must, thrive through the pain. You have got to understand what it means for you as an individual, but above all, it has got to be purposeful. Very, very powerful words. Thank you so much, our guest speaker, Ambassador Goldie, for those words. I guess in a different session we shall get to understand if the gold is a given name at birth, or it comes
Yes.
along. It is.
It is.
Ah, wonderful.
And that explains
Wonderful.
my life in many ways.
I agree with you 100%. Okay, so now this is going to take me to my next, line of questioning. You've spoken to us about how there is a very thin line between resilience and then something else that is not resilience, isn't it? And so I want to ask you, what is the one common way people mistake silent suffering or burnout for resilience, and why exactly is that harmful? In there, you've helped us to appreciate the picture, and now we want to know, because we all have our own perspectives of toughening through the situation, but just help us to understand before we go into self-harm mode, when is silent suffering not actually purposeful resilience, like you mentioned in the opening remarks.
Thank you. Thank you, my moderator. When you're asking that question, it just took me to an example I had, and before that example, allow me say this. One of the common mistakes we make as people when undergoing a resilient revolution or your stages of resilience, like you mentioned here, either put it as burnout, or you're going through a stage of job loss, or you're going through anything, a divorce, a childless marriage. I want to highlight some few examples here. There are very many. Career, you're changing career and you're really lost at a crossroads. You've lost everything, financial, financial incapacity leading to your resilience financially. Everyone will tell you never give up. Be strong. Now, let me start with the men's side, because this is very, very common. Mr. Moderator, you and the gentleman who are keyed in here, naturally, a man is grown and they're telling you, you don't have to show emotions. Isn't that so? You're not supposed to cry. Isn't that so? You're supposed to be strong, macho. Hmm?
Yes. Yes.
Over the years, we've seen. Now, let me speak from a mental health consultant perspective or advocate perspective. Men are human. They are not robots. The one big mistake is cultural misconceptions. All these old beliefs or beliefs that we have set ourselves over the years to ensure that people are raised in particular ways. Now, for example, you tell a man you don't cry, you're not supposed to show emotion, you're supposed to beat your wife, you're supposed to have many wives, or show them. It's harmful, yes. Why is it harmful? You're already affecting the psychological well-being of your family. Two, the man who grows up like that with time starts to question their own worth, because they've been told this and the reality in the world is this, there is a gap. Who said a man cannot put on color? Who said a man cannot cry? Who said a man cannot be emotional? He is a human being crying out aloud. And that is why we have a lot of girls in our men, including within the profession. We've lost several HR CEOs to the unhealthy, be strong resilience terminology, if I may call it. People are suffering silently. And burnout, you mentioned, is real. When you talk about mental health in the workplace, it's not a joke. Your staff are going through issues. I'm not talking about taking emotions everywhere in the body. So what if you take it and start budgeting for that? You will have productivity realized in a much better way. It's not just about the bottom line profits. Burnout is real. People are dying. People are resigning from your workplaces, not because of what, because of some of the cultures, the toxic cultures in your workplace. And as leaders, we have accepted this and folded our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We even encourage these toxic cultures. So how would you expect your staff, your wife, husband, your community, if everything you've showed them is keep quiet, remain silent? If you talk about it, they think you're cuckoo. If you talk about Africans, we are strong. Excuse me? It's harmful because it's causing a lot of issues at the workplace, but also in the homes. Anxieties, depression is real, ladies and gentlemen. We need to start naming some of these things. So when we talk about resilience, and one of the mistakes that we make, it has a cultural orientation, ladies and gentlemen, where we are told do's and don'ts. There is a good of everything. But honestly, isn't it time for us to redefine some of these cultures, to redefine some of these long-term sayings, to redefine how we want to live our lives? Isn't it time? How many more students of secondary schools are suffering silently or be quiet in the name of burnout, in the name of resilience in quotes? Let me call it unhealthy resilience. No, it's very harmful. So it's time for us to speak up. Yes, we need to speak up. We need to find the why behind the how. Survival. And survival without purpose is really aimless and goalless. It's like someone who dreams but has no goal. You're dreaming. It's very good to dream. But if you dream and there are no goals, I mean, who is going to be accountable? How are you going to be accountable to realize or name even your success or your failures? So resilience without purpose is just survival. Purposeful resilience is about, yes, you go through the endurance because you have anchored yourself on a higher, larger vision than your current pain. That is it. So why don't we give our workers, I don't even want to tell workers, no, they're our very key assets in the organization. And when I say proper mental health policies in the workplace, call us to do the trainings, the mental behavior modification trainings. We do that to talk to your people. It's not just about trainings. No, we take them through sessions. By the time they come out, there's transformation tangible there and then. But let's just have an outlook here. For the youth, for example, we must identify those things that form resilience to them. For example, the identity is one thing for the youth, isn't it? One thing. There's an identity crisis. People think that if the one who is on social, how do you call it? Insta and all those things are the one, They need to find their voices amidst this digital noise. Where is my phone? I can't even find it. Yes, they need to find their voice. For youth, it's about identifying and forming resilience, finding their voice amidst the digital voice. For the men, we've just talked about it. We need to move from this, how do you call it? Yes, static, silence to emotional courage. Yes. For the women, I'll not even say, because we know it. A woman carries quite a lot. And a career woman, a leader? But we have all these expectations And we're not providing a healthy ground for them to experience their true selves purposefully, rediscover their potential, speak with authenticity, act with intentionality, make the right decisions, but also appreciate who they are. Culturally, faith-wise, draw from any ancestral or cultural strength that you have. It's not, you see, I just hope that we understand that it's not just about surviving ourselves. We survive to make others better. We survive to be a torch to the next generation. So really, this purported, be strong, be strong. What if I'm not strong? How then do I go through it? Be intentional. I said it already. Identify your why. Identify what that emotion is. Name it and commit to yourself to go from step one to one day at a time, by the way. Even in the tears, today you wake up, it's okay, tomorrow it's not okay, but you still, that commitment is still there to go on. So we need new, better ways. We need, to think of different ways of how to reposition resilience in our organizations, in our marriages, in our families, in your relationship with marriage. There are different forms so that we can, reorganize this concept of resilience to a much, much more, positive, but also forward-looking analogy. Otherwise, people are mixing it up a bit. Are really mixing it up. And we've mixed it up, including myself, for a very long time. It's until you walk through it, when you have the experience, you start realizing, oh, I was on a different path. Thank you. Thank you, my dear.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lady Goldie. Again, for helping us understand, what silent suffering is and how it can easily be misinterpreted for resilience when it is actually very, very far from it. But also the harm that it can do, through the different parameters right there. And that is going to lead me to my next question. For our 63 participants that are tuned in right, at this moment, what are some of the practical lessons they can just draw away starting today, this very moment, things that they can right away put into practice to just make sure that they are on the right course of resilience and not something that is going to damage them mentally, and what it is actually, what is not resilience. Over to you, Ambassador.
Muted. Oh, you can hear me now. Yes. Thank you. Two practical habits. Let me just throw in this plainly as it is. For you to build resilience, the muscle of resilience, you see, just the way you go to the gym or at home and you do the thing, resilience is also a muscle. It's a skill you have to build. Of course, without damaging your body or damaging your different senses, but it's a skill that you need to build. So allow me mention some examples here. You talked about career, because most of the people here could be career people or business professions and leaders here. Let me start with those. I'll start with the women, career women. There's one of the things that we've been struggling with for years is balancing our personal growth and our personal life. And for a woman who is balancing growth and personal life, this is when your resilience is tested. Now think of this woman who is a leader. She will negotiate resources in the boardroom, or she's even in a male-dominated field. Like, for example, one of our recent WOW Women Champions for February, we had a lady engineer. We call her the plumber woman, where she has to negotiate business trading in a male-dominated plumbing world. Or you could be a single mother. I just want to talk to different categories now, because it would be unfair to only take care of the career woman without mentioning the others. Or you could be divorced. Or you could be a mother or a woman who is childless. The appreciation of embracing who you are is the starting point. Resilience cannot happen until your self-awareness kicks in. You must have the level of self-awareness where you understand yourself so well enough that you will not let anything external question not just your worth, but that resilience. So meaning that you need to embrace who you are. You need to embrace your leadership. You need to balance, have ways to balance. If it needs you to have support systems at home, have, how do you call them, home keepers, drivers, have them. But you have to have a balanced life, otherwise you break. You cannot do everything. I know women, for us, we're very good. Oh, I'm a perfectionist. Oh, I must do everything. My dear, you cannot do everything. You need to choose what you're going to do. And if you're a leader, you have to run to that boardroom, negotiate here and there. Oh, and how you're going to thrive amidst that caregiving. You need to redefine your identity. I talked about this, especially for women who have been divorced or who are going through separation. You must have a period of self-discovery. And actually, it doesn't have to be for you to get divorced. Any woman has to go through a place of self-discovery, rediscover and redefine your identity. Who are you without the world? Who is Goldie? Post that separation or post that job, without that title, who are you? Fulfilling that through the impact, meaning your legacy. That's another thing. Think about what you can do beyond self. What is the impact? We've talked about mentorship here. We've talked about coaching here. We've talked about some of you who are educationalists, who are helping, giving a hand, empowering men and women and boys out there. Very good. Find something fulfilling to create your legacy, your impact. You have to find it. You have to find it. And there are some who are very good. You have to only speak and break the stereotypes with your skill and your grit, meaning you show up the way you do it, your sense of excellence in terms of getting what you need to do. And when I say excellence, it's really your determination, you showing up no matter what to make it work. Let me go to the gentleman. Yes, you could say that, oh, I'm a career gentleman, or I am a business leader. We also have single fathers, we have separated fathers, we have men who are going through reproductive health issues. How then do you navigate that? You must find ways of navigating the pressures of your success as a leader, whether you're a man, but also expressing vulnerability. We need to reach a point where we teach men that vulnerability does not make you less a man. No. And vulnerability in this sense is also you expressing, your prioritizing mental health, your personal mental health, embracing your emotional openness. Yes, teaching your boys, your men at workplace to be emotionally open, to embrace caregiving, to ask for support. Some men don't ask for support. Moderator, some are closed, ladies and gentlemen. But we need to teach our men that it's okay to ask for help. It doesn't make you less of a man. How do you then rebuild your connections and purpose? I know for men, they'll say it's very easy. No, it's not as easy as it looks. So all men catch up over a drink and they go over and they'll win the proposals. My dear, it's not just as easy as it looks. I'm sure that man has to be intentional. That man has to be present with what is going on in their lives to understand that growth process. But then leading with empathy amidst uncertainty is one of the ways that we should be able to care or even recommend in building resilience. Yes. Balancing growth and your personal life, I agree. Thriving amidst your caregiving pressures, yes. Embracing your leadership unapologetically, redefining your identity to purpose yourself post the traumas, post the survival mode into purposeful resilience is very key. I talked about your legacy. How then do you position yourself for the next generation? We have very many people on this call who have had their names, and some of them are very skilled, intelligent ladies and gentlemen. I know some of you. And even those I don't know, you are who you are. What are you doing to leave that positive knowledge behind? Which hand are you holding in your workplace or in your home or in your community? In other words, what is your legacy? How are you rebuilding connections and purpose? Today we have jobs, tomorrow we don't. So does that make us less of human beings? Absolutely not. We must find strength in helping others. We must lead. I use the words must because these are unnegotiable. In the world we live today, unfortunately, there are terms that have become very negotiable. They no longer make sense. So really lead with empathy, even during the uncertainty. Choose to be purposeful. Know your why, because your why then determines how you purposefully transform through the path of survival into the better version of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. And I've just been also, while I'm listening, I've been just taking my notes on what is most practical for me and things that I want to wake up to just implementing right away, because that is what we have got to do. Most especially when we get that opportunity like this one, that comes not as often, and we have got to be able to take advantage and pick up these lessons very sharply, but also be prepared, most importantly, to put them in practice, because you can imagine how it would be a waste of good time for you and for everyone if we came and listened to the good things, took the notes, and then we left it exactly where we've had it from. So for me, my encouragement to everyone that is listening in, please go and implement. Get exactly how this relates to how your life is. The beauty is that our speaker, Ambassador Goldie, has been trying to give examples from different walks of life, that the experience has been so diversified in our examples. And that for me comes in as a huge addition, saying, Derek, you do not have to think all of that. Ambassador is here. Just get your pen, just have your internet, set up your laptop, phone, whatever it is, and then get this knowledge and then apply it in your life, and then watch yourself grow as you stick to all of these sessions as they come through again. So thank you so much, the Betty Gel Foundation. And Coach, you're back. I see you there. When I see you, I happy. My smile goes very, very wide. I'm telling you, it's the truth of it.
Derek, thank you, Derek. Thank you, Ambassador Goldie. And I think Ambassador Goldie has really spoken and shared a lot of gold. Goldie has
Yes.
shared a lot of gold with
Correct.
us tonight.
Yes.
So I just wanted to give us a break and play a video which demonstrates the resilience as Ambassador catches a breath. It has been a marathon. Who does that to Ambassador? So can I play
Yes,
this
Coach, go right
video?
ahead.
Okay, this is a video of some lady known to me. personally, and I hope our story will inspire you as it has inspired me.
Coach, while you set it up, I just want to read a very interesting comment I've seen in the chat section. There's an anonymous participant under the name iPhone who said, "This is good. I wish I had received the link earlier. I would have shared it with all employees I know, including CEOs." And I think the gold touched somewhere very specific, and it's lovely. It's lovely. And then someone else says it's not just spot on, it's rare wisdom, and that is even hard to share. Thank you, Ambassador. Maybe oh, Coach is on. Great. Let's watch the video then. Maybe Coach, just allow me as you navigate the technology. I just want to okay, Coach, just allow me. Thank you. Colleagues, as the conversation is ongoing, please just put some questions in the chat section so that immediately we switch from Ambassador, we are able to go into a very quick Q&A so that we are able to keep time very much within our constraints. Over to you, Coach.
Betty Ogiel Ruvanga is a girl child education advocate inspiring young women. She's also a senior human resource officer for Total Uganda. Her life story after several setbacks, but still came off victorious. From losing her father at 3 years to being abandoned by her guardian and escaping female circumcision. Today, she's a motivational speaker who uses her story to champion girl child education. Ruvanga was one of the speakers at the International Day of the Girl Child at the UN in New York last month. She also toured 5 states and visited 9 schools where she spoke about her life and the liberating role of education. She also promoted her book, whose proceeds go towards establishing the Betty Ogiel Foundation to support education for girls from needy backgrounds. 39-year-old Ogiel is one of 7 children. After her father's death, she was entrusted to the care of her uncle Nicholas Inyame in Karamoja. Her uncle's wife tortured her.
I hear people talking about sunbathing in the beach. Mine was very far from that. Mine was real sun scrub at home. My uncle's wife, and so she used to beat me. Any slightest thing, she, I went through a lot of torture. Even my uncle knew.
He also enrolled her at Aranjesit Secondary School in Nabilatuk, Karamoja, but later abandoned her at the age of 13.
My uncle Karamoja at that time. I went back home to find my uncle and his family, his children, his wife. had relocated back to Teso.
Running secured her bursaries that enabled her to continue with her education.
But one thing that kept me at school was that I was a talented athlete. God gives us talents, not to sit on them, but to use them to our advantage.
But the life hurdles were not far from over. At Makerere University, she nearly failed to complete her studies until Professor Opio Epelu, former Deputy Vice Chancellor, intervened.
He told me, go, I will pay your tuition fees from now until you complete. I don't have a lot of money, but I'm going to pay, support your education. And that was one of my happiest moments in my university life.
In 2006, Ojil was involved in a motor accident that broke several limbs and impaired her movements and speech. Finally, the light of day shone on her, and her hard work paid off. She works as human resource advisor at Agnaist and Young, and later joined Total Uganda. She has also written a book about her life story entitled Against All Odds: Memoirs of Resilience, Determination, and Luck Amidst Hardship for an African girl child in her passionate pursuit for education, explaining the trials that she went through to gain an education. To crown her life success, she received the Human Resource Excellence Award, Employee Engagement category, from the Human Resource Managers Association of Uganda. Hers is a story of never giving up, has changed many lives. Report by Stephen Senkava for New Vision TV.
Derek, I have disclaimers to make. First of all, I am not in New York. I am here in Uganda right now. I was not in New York last month. I am still here. Maybe next month I will go. But for today, I am here. And that documentary was done in 2017-18 years. But it is my story. It is true. Everything that was mentioned there is true and happened to me. I am a human being. I still feel pain when you pinched me. I feel pain. Some people wonder how I was able to go through that and still be here around. Yes, that is true resilience. That is part of what resilience is, what true resilience is, not toxic resilience, not toxic resilience or pretending to be okay when you are not okay, to pretending to smile when deep down you are dying, your soul is dead, pretending and defending things that are not good for your mental health. Yes, that is not resilience. That is neglect. Yes, and I have been there. I have been there. There was a time in my life when I believed that resilience was about being strong for everyone, and destroying myself and dying in my own movie. I have been there. I have been there. I have been in a situation where I stayed in an environment that was damaging my mental health. In addition to the brain injury, I damaged my environment, which was not good for me, until I suffered from burnout. People do not want to talk about these things. And my friends who are resilient ambassadors or resilient queens, I have a message for you, resilient people. We are prone to burn out more than the rest of the people who are not resilient, because we keep moving. We just keep moving. We believe, how do they see a queen of resilience breaking down? I used not to break down while sharing my story. Very difficult story of abandonment, of accident. I did not processed all these things, and I used to speak about them just without emotion, holding my emotion, and I used to avoid parts of my story which could make me break down, like talking about my mother's death, because I have, up to now, I have not discovered. Yes, so I chose, I edited out that part of my story, because how do they see a queen of resilience crying? Nowadays, the Betty you are here, I cry whenever I want. Even now, when tears come, I do not hold back. Call me weak, call me mentally retarded. No, yes, I will accept, because I know what unprocessed emotions can do. They become trapped emotions, which keep eating you like slow poison. So I like the fact that Ambassador Goldie, my sister in resilience, has talked about all that, self-neglect, silent erosion, absorbing bad unlimited damage to your body in the name of you don't want to cry, to be seen crying. You don't want to be seen giving up. I give up. Actually, I learned to give up. I learned to give up, but I know when to give up. Because some things, if you don't give up, you will die. You will die. There are some things you have to give up. And I know this is not something which people want to hear. People want to hear, never give up. Yes, there's a time for never giving up, a time for everything. Malachi, a time for giving up and a time for not giving up. The difference is the wisdom to know when to give up and when not to give up. Yes. So I gave myself permission to cry whenever I want to cry. Even now, after putting off my video, yes, if I feel like crying, if I remember something that happened to me, I will cry and console myself, because I have learned that resilience is not about waiting for people to come and say, sorry, you went through this, you are going through this. You have to learn to console yourself. After crying, you console yourself, because everyone out there is going through their cup of coffee or dawa tea, sweet and bitter. So I gave myself permission to cry. I gave myself permission to give up when I feel I am led by the Holy Spirit to give up that thing. So it is up to you. I challenge you. Maybe there are some things you have to give yourself permission to cry. Actually, I am giving you permission to cry. If there's something that you did not, if there's something that happened to you and you felt like crying and you did not cry, I am giving you permission to cry for your own good. Let things out. Over to you, back.
Thank you very much, Coach Betty. Surely you must believe that I'm a very strong person, because after handing us permission to cry, you now hand me the microphone to speak. So I'm sure you believe that I can keep my tears for later. And exactly, yeah, that is what I'm going to do. But thank you so much for sharing your experience. I have had it many times over, but you see, every single time that I hear it, it touches me. Every single time that I hear it, it challenges me. And then I'm sure that out of all of the people that are listening into that are hearing it, this has got to touch a nerve. This has got to land somewhere, even in your own life story. So thank you so much, Coach, for being selfless with your story. We know that I mean there should be other people that have gone through particular things, but like Ambassador Gold said, she said that make your journey, use your journey of resilience, to sort of pave the way for others. Share your life lessons through your resilience journey and let it be an inspiration to many others that are also having struggles. Because the thing is, the life that we are going through, it's not very different. We are using the same roads, we are eating the same food, we are faced with similar challenges. And that is why when we get selfless people like yourselves to share with us, it is very easy for us to find the plugins and sort of implement this with our very own. And I'm sure I'm speaking for almost all of us, if not all of us, for sure. Now, Ambassador, allow me to ask you what should be my last question. And then we can get into our Q&A before time catches up with us. Thus far, we have got to appreciate many things about purposeful resilience, to be specific. And somewhere in the introduction, where when you are trying to define for us what resilience is and what is not, you spoke about an aspect of a support system. You clearly mentioned that resilience is not about self-isolation, but it is something that requires community essentials. It is something that you cannot do by yourself, but you need support, here and there. Talk to us about what precise role, Ambassador, communities play in a resilience journey, and how practical we can start to build our, communities of our own in our resilience journeys starting today. Over to you, Ambassador.
Thank you. Thank you, moderator. Thank you, Coach Betty. You are speaking, sometimes people look at me and you and think we are stronger. Yes, we may look strong, but we're human. And just before I even answer that question, allow me say this. I'm not going to share my full story today because, like my sister Betty, Coach Betty has just mentioned, if you read her book, you'll never be the same again. I met Coach Betty before I read her book. And I'm like, who is this twin sister of mine? Who comes from a different world altogether? I was so interested in knowing this person. And I'm like, there can't be two identical lives, for lack of a better word. Is it even possible? Or is it my twin separated and taken the other side? And did we live the same twin life? But I was so crazy. So Betty, I appreciate the story. Mine, I'm not going to share it today in full. No, I've given just a few highlights. Why? Because you'll read it in my book. You'll read it, A Life of Bliss. You're going to see it there. I don't want to preempt anything. Because like Betty said, from my experience, I was like her. We are women who could not talk about it. The death of our moms, never. The abandonment from childhood, never. Yes, I know you're hearing this from me and you're like, oh yes, I come from a very good family, but yes, these things happen. Oh yeah. Neglect, yes. My story of surviving, I don't want even to mention that clue. Aboke girls, I won't tell you. So I want you to read it there for yourself. One day when Betty is hosting me for the book launch and talk out, you will hear a snapshot, but I would want you to get there. Because you see, like she mentioned, resilience is not about pretense, ladies and gentlemen. Resilience is not passive, no. Everything around us, be strong, never give up, are passive models of resilience. We're talking about purposeful resilience. Resilience, I've even removed my glasses so that I can look at you very well. You can get it from my eyes, really. You do not need anyone's permission. You do not need anyone's validation to be the best version of yourself, to cry when you cannot handle, to shout when you feel like shouting. You don't need anyone's permission. You only need your permission to show up for you. For many years, we've been told, yes, care for others, but we forget that we care from an empty cup. What do you get? Actually, it's very clear. They said, you cannot give what you don't have. So purposeful resilience is pouring from a place of full and overflow. I like what one of my favorite quotes on resilience. One was by Bob Marley, but the other one is by a gentleman called Rani Obed. He says that, imagine this is a wound. He says the wound is the place from where the light enters. So in other words, that place of your brokenness, that place of your pain, that place of your vulnerability is the starting point for you to have a turnaround journey. Someone wrote in the chat I was reading that how do you know when it's time to leave and the business? I don't know if I already tried to ask, you will help me moderator later, but when it's time to leave and there's no resources being made and everything, like Coach Betty says, it's you. You know it. That's why the aspect of self-awareness and resilience is very key. Because we don't want you to miss your season. We don't want you to miss your time. And like I always tell people, if you've not learned a lesson, trust me, you'll experience it again until you learn the lesson. That is how karma works. That's how life is. So resilience is that whisper. But you've asked a very essential question. Let's be real. Real resilience requires community. Community is essential in that equation. Does that look in terms of healthy support? Let me go straight to that. Community is very critical. When we say community, we're not saying your entire village. Community could be your workmate, community could be your husband, community could be your children, community could be your social support group. Community could mean the people you most feel comfortable with and who you don't have to pretend around, but who you become your authentic self every time you show up. That is your community. Leave around the professional community of those who will now give you mental health, corrective services, therapeutic. I'm not talking about leave. There's that part of community. Yes, because when it goes to the worst, there's need for referrals, absolutely. But we're still talking about the community in your reach, your support systems. And this is one thing, Coach Beatty and moderator, ladies and gentlemen, that people take for granted. People do not have support systems because we come from sometimes broken families. I come from a very good family, big family, but I was the one. You remember my name is Golda? You read it. I was that one child for no reason, for I do not know what, who had to go through everything than my siblings. And I do not blame anyone for that. To a point where, yes, I did not have school fees, and yet my family were in Kampala and they are living very well. I was a little child. So when you hear Betty talking about little child looking for education and school fees, I had to go, my dear, and cook. How do you people call it in them? Cook waragi, crude alcohol. I think that's the name. I was a child. When I say child, I'm saying just a child at around 10 to 12. That's the child I'm talking about. To get myself something to go to. It's not because I did not have family, but there was neglect somewhere. There was no sense of belonging. So then how does such a person find a community to help themselves, a healthy community? That's what we're talking about. How do you embrace vulnerability? How do you share your story? With whether you cry, I like what Betty said, whether you laugh. For years, I could not talk about my mom's death as well. That was untouchable grounds. But you see, we need to accept that the communities that we're talking about, let me break this down for you. Community in the workplace, that's also your community. So in the workplace, have healthy friendships, have professional communities where your people can be themselves. They can bring their skills and gifts to play to contribute to the productivity of your companies. That is one. How you do that? There are several ways. I'm not even going to talk about your human resource processes. No. I'm not talking about that. But there are different ways of engaging people to have more meaningful productivity in the workplace. Appreciating, recognition, giving authentic feedback, not vague feedback. Now let me talk about your family. Who is your family? Are you the one working from January to December and you don't have time to even check on your children's homework, build a relationship and connection with your children? That's your community. That workplace will terminate you today, or you die, they'll put here, thank you, Simanya, condolences, and what? The next minute they're hiring. Who will be there for you? Family. So do you have a place, ladies and gentlemen, to go to in as far as your resilience is concerned? Are you building a resilient support family for yourself purposefully? That when all hell goes loose on the other side, you still have a place to come back to. At home, that is your family. What's your relationship with your husband and wife, with your children, with your, you call them extended families? I don't know. Some of us, we wouldn't have a relationship. It's not easy because people think you don't belong. But you must find the bones in your story. You must build bones with your storytelling. Carry on the good things of your family from this generation to the other generation. Tell them, let them know. This was what grandfather was. You'll read in my book, I talk about my mom and my grandmom, who, imagine, I did not meet my grandmom, but she was a woman of resilience. So community is very important. Community of your friends. Let's take a look at your phone. Your phone, yes, your phone. If you look at the 300 or 10,000 calls, you call them contacts you have, are they really your friends? Are they really assets that will stand with you when it comes to community of resilience? Who is your community of resilience? Who is your I will person? I don't know, I'm just saying. Because for me, it's practical. It is every day, one day at a time, finding support in the little things around you, appreciating them, but not seeking any external validation or permission to be yourself. And do not compromise who you are, no matter what. Whether they call you weak, it is okay. Let them call you weak. But as long as you know who you are and where you're going and what you want and who you're going to touch next, should it bother you? So really, community support systems, the role of community support systems in enhancing real purposeful resilience and not passive resilience. We defined passive resilience already. Is very, very key. Very, very key. Who are the people you're going to bring up even as you're going through that storm? By the first person is yourself, like Betty said, the first person is yourself. Are you aware and do you support yourself? Do you vouch for you? Do you say, yes, Goldie? Or today, no, Goldie, I don't feel it. And it's not about a feeling. You see that? Huh? You must live it. You have to live through it. You have to understand each of those broken moments make you a stronger person, purposefully. I like what some research recently about the positive psychology talked about, how studies have shown that purposeful resilience actually leads to higher well-being, higher mental health and well-being. Now imagine if a study or researchers or scientists can even help us identify that purposeful resilience actually has a higher link to your well-being. How then, from this session, are you positioning yourself, ladies and gentlemen, like the moderator said, to pick one or two things from your life? For me, from my experience, I have learned the hard way. I am every day reminded profoundly that it is very important for me as Goldie to use or to think of my scars as evidences of my growth, not my defeat. And it took me time to realize that. So today I wear my badges as badges of honor and glory. I am not ashamed to share my story. I went through stroke, so what? I went through a divorce, so what? A painful one. I went through a marriage which was before the divorce. Goodness gracious me. Yes, but I'm human. I cannot pretend. I don't live a perfect life. No. I'm human first. Where I was questioned, my worth was questioned. My work, because I used to work and I had big jobs to help every coin come at home. But it was questioned and made me question, Goldie, am I really supposed to work? Am I being a bad wife? Honestly, God be my witness. Commitment from the person, any of you who know me, I am unapologetically committed. I go in, I fall in head faster, swim. I don't have plan B. Then I realize, oh, but now I do it from wisdom. And like you said, should you wait to break? For me, unfortunately, I took that. It costed almost my life through a stroke. Should you wait for the breaking point for resilience to come? No, ladies and gentlemen, it's wisdom. You remember what Betty said? Wisdom. Everybody in the world breaks. The afterward is what makes the pieces stronger, is how you put yourself back together. When you fall, you don't have to sit there falling down and in self-pity and what. We're not saying we are pretending. No, this is real. This is real. So wear your scars, not as weakness, no. Let them be your maps of courage. Let them show you that this is the path you took from where you were to who you are today and who you want to be next. They're your solid whys. They're your solid hows. So they help you to navigate today and tomorrow. So from me to you, continue to wear your badges. At War Women, we say we wear our badges, treasured badges. Those scars gracefully, with purposeful resilience, and we shine limitless and unapologetically. Because, how else can we do it? At Goldie's Group Holdings, we do the MyBiz Consultants, where we do strategic growth, where we talk about economic resilience, helping, for example, your companies equip entrepreneurs to pivot themselves, ensuring that they come out of crisis and they outlast that crisis. That is emotional resilience, economic resilience. And that's how we help you through strategic growth. When you talk about makeup, which you talked about mental health of community, it's psychological resilience, mental health, creating safe spaces, communities of practice where vulnerability is a foundation of your mental strength. Through War Women, it's about worth and leadership, where we talk about sovereignty, resilience, where we empower women of worth to lead from their scars, shine unapologetically with worth. The Boy at Heart initiative, Boys to Men you've heard of, does the same. We do generational resilience, where we redefine masculinity so boys can grow into men who not just lead from a macho sense, no, who lead with both heart, strength, and empathy. And lastly, really, resilience to me is a second chance. I've got a second chance to live. I've got a second chance to speak to you, to be on this show. I've got a second chance to tell my truth. So for me, it's about second chances. Redemptive resilience. Proving that my past is just a chapter. It's not my whole story. It's not my whole book. And that is how we facilitate, through Second Chances Foundation, the after in the happily ever after. So from me to you, let's amplify purposeful resilience through our communities, through skills sharing, through support. Let's nurture emotional resilience. Let's purposefully grow our men and women to foster unapologetic leadership, but shine through the authentic selves. Let's support integration within communities. And yes, let's grow, even amidst facing the setbacks. Let's seek growth. Let's seek growth. Because at the end of the day, it's really up to you. What you choose to do with your life, it is your business. But then your business affects other people. So what am I saying? What I'm saying is really, as you listen to what is resilience and what is not resilience, you need to understand that your endurance and your commitment and your decision to show up for yourself is very critical at this moment. It may be wanting, it may be uncertain, it may feel unwelcome. Oh, the world will even tell you, oh, you're too much. Reduce the tone. Or even quietly through giving you vague feedback. But remember to live your most authentic life. Do what makes you happy. Seek what makes you happy. Contribute to what makes you happy. And let's have a mindset shift for Purpose for Resilience. Thank you, my dear. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Goldie. It has been such a wonderful, impactful session, and my God, the life experiences that you just shared right there. I think for each one of the examples that you kept giving, they just kept landing home right there. And I think I speak for all of us when I say thank you so much for giving part of your value to the rest of us as well. And at this point, I want to mention that for the people that have been asking in the chat section how to become a part of the Against All Odds community, the link has been shared in the chat by Coach Betty. You just have to tap on the link and then you're able to be added to the WhatsApp group where all updates regarding Against All Odds talks are shared. But also that gives you an opportunity to be a part of a big community that is about growth, about self-improvement, about meeting people of value, like we have Ambassador Goldie here, and many other things. So it's a great, grand opportunity. Do not miss it. Just scroll through the chat section and you should be able to see a link to a WhatsApp chat. Now, our time is fast spent, but I must say that it has equally been spent very well with a lot of value coming along with it. Now, Ambassador, allow me to just ask two questions from the comment section, and surely after responding to these, we shall have a wrap up from Coach Betty, and we shall call our 56th edition of Against All Odds a day. So the first question is going to come from a participant under the names Edward. Edward says, Dear Lady Goldie, I experienced the traumatic death of my father when I was about 10 years old, and that devastated me. To date, the death of loved ones still hits me very hard. How can I overcome this, please? That is Edward. And then the last question from Grace is asking, how do you tell an authentic question? I'm thinking this came from the last point that you shared, which was about the relevance of community, especially in an authentic and purposeful resilience journey. So the first question is the gentleman that is asking about how we can overcome the trauma that comes with the loss of loved ones, and the other is how we can tell what an authentic community is from one that is not in our resilience journey. Over to you, Ambassador, as we close.
Thank you. I'll be brief because I noticed I actually lost out of time there. Grief. Grief is very painful. Grief is that ultimate test of your purposeful resilience, because it feels purposeless, actually. You wonder and question why you're going through grief. And there's no direct answer to that. But allow me say this. Even as you're going through grief, it's important for you to remember, I like what Betty said earlier. If you're someone who believes, who has faith within you, or even if you don't have, you need to first and foremost realize that grief in itself, and when I talk from a resilience point of view, resilience in grief is not moving on. No, it's moving with. I'll say that again. The shift of resilience in grief is not about moving on. Because like Betty said, and you're saying, you can never move on. But it's moving with. It's integrating the love that you have for what you have lost into a fuel for what is to come. So you need to understand, yes, I lost daddy, I lost Muse, I lost mommy, I lost sisters, I lost brothers. Sure, it's painful. Have some ways of how you can remember. What are the things the good things you remember about them? And let that fuel, that grief, be the fuel that you shall come out of that and carry on their legacy or speak. Every time you remember, let that be the one on your lips. Let it come fast. So I want to really help you to understand that resilience in grief is not moving on, is moving with. You carry with you that peace. I was speaking to someone recently who lost her father as well, and I was saying that they never go. I lost my mom 32 years ago. This, if someone saw, you saw on my, or this on 2nd of January itself. So 2nd of January is so special to me. Many years I did not talk about it, but this year, imagine 32 years after, I was able to create a small documentary with wordings and beautiful message to my mom and posted it on my social media. I've never done that. And this is just a classic example that we need to get to places where we move with, because you just cannot move on, you get stuck. But then we have to be unstuck. So then we need to bring the love element of who these people were in our lives. Gentlemen, I know for men, they'll say, you cannot cry, but my dear, like Betty said, cry if you have to. But right now I'm introducing you to a concept of move with that person, move with the love, the memory of that love. Not holding back, accept. Remember, Abra? You accept it. You remember? Yes? You remember what I spoke about earlier about Abra? You accept it. You're able to, actually in the acceptance, you acknowledge, remember? Then you breathe it in. Then you release all the negativity and remain with the positive, then align. That is Abra. So what am I saying? I'm only saying here as I end is that really you need to find a place where you can really say that grief is just love with no place to go. That is one of the quotes in my book I wrote. Grief is a place of love with no place to go. But purposeful resilience gives that love a hope, a home to serve others through your story. The second question was about how do you define authenticity? How do you know that the community is authentic? There are very many things you can notice. First and foremost, it starts with you. When you know who you are, then you're able to set very clear standards, boundaries. The first test of knowing the authenticity is a test of your boundaries. Whichever community is able to compromise your boundaries, are they the right community for you? That's already a question mark. Meaning that those communities allow you to be you, they allow you to be you as Rachel, you as Juliet, you as Betty. Not a pretense, rich, poor, no, self-made one, you. When the world is not watching who and that's why I tell people, you cannot live a double, I don't know how people do it. How do you live a double standard life? That Goldie right now, this is me. This is how I speak. I speak unapologetically. I'll tell you, black is black, white is white. If you hate me, it is okay. That's your perception. So for me, it is, first of all, you understanding who you are. Then when you understand who you are, then you start setting your boundaries very clearly. Now, moment you set your boundaries become a firewall. You, the IT people call it a firewall. It becomes a, how do I call it? A flicking red flag, green flag, yellow flag, well, around the communities. You will know. You will know. You will know. So really, at the end of the days, it's not about you performing. This is not about performance. No. It's not about pretense. No. It's not about saying that now I am tired, but I don't feel like going. There are days. Let me tell you what I went through in COVID. COVID, I could not even get out of my home, not even the veranda. I went through, remember, like Betty said, we who are resilient are very prone to break down and even, burn out. I went through depression that I did not know that I had depression. I would sleep. I would come from bedroom. I even don't want to eat. I don't want anyone. Imagine I'm with the family, living in my family, but I'm going through this. And they saw me live it because they could not understand me and they let me be. But good thing is I spoke out. I told them, honestly, I don't feel me. I don't know what's happening. Just come keep checking on me, check on me in the bed, shake me. If the moment I turn and you see my eyes open, what? It's okay, you can leave me. Or make sure that I have a glass of water, what, check on me, that is it. Because it's sometimes like the gentleman who is saying, talking about grief or finding your community, it's very hard to know who is authentic and who is not. But can we start with your authenticity? Because your authenticity is a mirror. It will mirror the rest of the world to you. It will. It will. It will mirror the rest of the world to you. Just find a way of curating your inner cycle. And then what you feed that with carefully will tell you. So for me to you is start with your values, start with who you are, understand that, be really self-aware. Ask yourself, what are the things you want? What are the things you don't want? Who are you? What makes you happy? Then be the architect of your new legacy of resilience, purposeful resilience. You can do it. All of us can do it. So I invite you on this journey. I know one step at a time, but we can do it. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Goldie. I'll just read this message very quickly from Nokia C2 second edition. This person says, thanks for this message. It is so touching. Me, what I've understood is that this life is not all about giving up, but it is all about moving forward. Thank you, Coach Betty, for that video. It has shown me how to respect people, and let's keep moving in our resilience. Colleagues, thank you all. Edward also says, I hope the recording will be shared. God bless you. Now, thank you everyone that has been a part of this conversation from the very start. I just have to repeat one thing. Kindly tap the link that is going to join you or help you join the WhatsApp link, the WhatsApp group for the Against All Odds Talks community. If you have more questions after this conversation, there the questions can be shared there. If you want to get in touch with Coach Betty, if you want to get in touch with Ambassador Goldie, whatever it is that the time cannot allow us to do here, we shall be able to do in the WhatsApp group community. Alan here quoted an interesting one. I said, your authenticity mirrors the world. I think she loved that one very, very much. And it is very great that we also have a very participating sort of audience that are listening into the conversation. Thank you everyone. And at this point, Ambassador, allow me to invite in Coach Betty, who is our host, to wrap up our lovely, impactful session. And yes, Coach Betty, hope you are close by. Oh, there you are. There you are. Yes. And now I'm smiling.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Derek. You have been an amazing moderator and host and MC. By the way, should you be looking for an MC for your event, I am going to market you, Derek, since you failed to market yourself, or feared, not actually failed, feared to market yourself. Yes, I know Derek is an amazing MC, and if you were looking for an MC for your event, corporate team building event, look no further, because your search